Thanks for staying with us. So, veteran actor Pete Edochie has asked women to have who have cheating husbands to form the habit of placing condoms in their bags before going out. According to him, when a cheating man sees condom in his wife, that condom that his wife has placed in his bag, he will know she has interest and concerns for him, and he might have a rethink. Now, he said more than that, and I'll let the ladies share a few more of his thoughts. But it's important to know that we're having this conversation not because we are speaking against Pete Edochie, because we understand the school of thought he's from, we understand his generation. But we are discussing it because we also know that it is the generation, it is that thinking that have produced the men we've seen today. So it's important to have a conversation around it so that we can see how we can begin to either purge ourselves of this or adopt some of these thinking from our elders. So you can call us on 081-270-53687. You can also call us on 091-390-76948. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweet. Let us know if there's any wisdom that we'd like to adopt and make it applicable to this generation. Or we're saying, no, we're going to discard everything because it doesn't just work with our generation. Let's hear your thoughts on this. Let me start with the ladies. I want you to, first of all, quote him verbatim so that we are clear on exactly what he said. So, Mariam, would you like to take that, his quote exactly, please?
Okay, so he said, Solomon had 1,000 wives and 700 concubines. If a man decides to take many more wives, what are you going to do? Nothing. If you think your husband is going out to have an affair, put a packet of condom in his bag. When he sees it, he will know you have his interest at heart. If it is his intention to stray, he will put himself together. Not that, but women are not even creative. You want to be like wild women who keep on divorcing and remarrying. It doesn't suit us. It doesn't go down well with us.
So no. Another one I liked that I would like us to talk about. My mother was not educated. She was not in love with my father. My father was almost 40 years when his uncle told him it was time he got married. He told them to get a wife for him. And then my uncle his uncle went to the village and told them a teacher wants to get married. The shy woman who was 15 came up, and that the woman, a 15-year-old girl came up, and the woman gave his father 10 children. And so according to him, it's not about love.
It's inconsequential.
So that's where I want to start from.
So now we've heard what he said verbatim. Now, the question therefore is there wisdom in this admonition? 1. 2, is it applicable to us today? 3, is there any part of it we'd like to rephrase or purge or stop our men from thinking? Let's have that conversation. Let me start with Tope.
I never reached to tell a 70-something-year-old man that there's no wisdom in what he said. I'm not old enough. A man close to 80 has wisdom.
Okay.
We might not find the wisdom applicable to our own realities, but he has wisdom. So I'm not going to discuss his person. I'm going to discuss the issues he raised and how it relates to us now. So I'd like to start with the issue of love is not important. It's about commitment. And to a large extent, I agree with that part of his statement in that it's not about love, it's about commitment. Now, there are addendums to that story that he mentioned in terms of allow your spouse to, if he wants to go around, if he wants to marry multiple wives. I don't agree with that, but I strongly feel that one of the things that is lacking in marriages now that is making a lot of people break up, not the cheating part, is our lack of commitment to let us make this thing work. And he cited the fact that his mom was not in love with his father.
So let us start with this. And they were committed. Thank you. Let's start with this part because there are 3 or 4 points to make. But let's start with this love part. Because a lot of young people today I'm not in love. I don't get the butterflies when it comes around me. There's just something not just there. They put all that act up, and they let a man out of their life simply because they don't just feel it's not shocking them. Now, in that view, is it time for us to begin to let young people know that it's not about the shocking? It's about, does he have the capacity to be my husband? I mean, is that the wisdom we want to take from that part? Would you believe that love is not extremely important, but it's just the readiness of the man, regardless of his status? Yes.
Okay, so I will refer to what he said exactly, where he says a 15-year-old girl who was shy, and she gave his father 10 children, 7 boys and 3 girls, and even after then she was shy. For me, it talks about the superiority of the woman, of the man over the woman. So he's talking that she has no powers or authorities, or her likes and her wants are unimportant as long as she's there to provide those children. So he's talking about it from a man's point of view. But now our generation is saying there are two people involved here. Sometimes take a step back and wonder what that 15-year-old is really thinking. So I think
Does she want an education?
Yeah, does she want an education? Does she really want to be birthing 7 children? Does she want a man that loves her? Does she want romance? Does she want cakes and chocolates and flowers? But that's the thing. We have the story of mankind has been told from a man's perspective for so long. So now when we're saying the woman's story, from the side of the woman's story, it seems like rebellion. It's just that finally you're paying attention. And so I do not agree with him. Yes, he's 75, going on 80, but I understand that generation where it came from. But the truth is that these are the people who have given birth to the sons and daughters that we have today. So that's the conversation where sometimes you're like, where are these people from? They're from here, from these people who have given birth to them and have taught them this. Even if some people don't say with words, they have shown in action that this is what they want.
Let me take your initial thought. Go on a quick break.
Yeah, so for me, I think it's the dishonesty of marriage. That women are not really told exactly how this marriage is going to be. There are conversations, you know, at their time, or in their time, there were conversations that they didn't have. Imagine the example that he just gave, where I want a wife, you just pick the young girl who was shy to me. The young girl did not sit down to say, okay, how do you want this marriage to run? What are our templates? How do we handle children? How do we handle this? There was no conversation. And then you get into that sort of marriage and you realize that the man is entitled, the man feels superior, the man is patriarchal and feels, I can have ogbono, egusi, afang soup together with you and Salah in the house, and it's okay, it's my right. But now the woman is feeling like, okay, maybe that's how, because that's how society, you don't even complain, you can't complain to your mother. You go to your mother says, that's how it has been, you know, just love him, just pet him when he's going, just put the condom in his bag. That's how to save your marriage. So the dishonesty when it comes to the conversations that we should have that we're not having, but this generation is saying that we need to have this conversation. It's okay if you say, because of religious beliefs, I'm going to marry 4. I'm prepared as a first wife. I'm ready that, okay, 2 other or 3 other will come. But not that when we have agreed we're going to have monogamy, you now go outside and be collecting those extra spices.
Let me go on a break, because it'd be interesting to have a conversation with this 15-year-old child who is now an adult and ask her if she had dreams. If she, what kind of life she really wanted for herself. Now that she has seen others, was she happy with the choice she made? So these are conversations we can start having. But let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the part of the condom. When you see your husband cheating, just put condom in his bag. What's the big deal? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still on this issue of veteran actor Pete Edochie's advice to women. And we're talking about the cheating part. And yes, a lot of people have condemned his comments because their view is that, why would you tell a man, why would you put a packet of condom in his bag, not letting the man take responsibility for his actions? But he was advising women who have divorced their husbands on the premise that he cheated on them. And he thinks that's not enough reason to leave a man because, hey, Solomon had 1,000 wives, 1,000 concubines or whatever, and he was able to manage them. So why is a woman making it an issue that a man is cheating on her? So that's the conversation I want us to have right now. We've packed the issue of loving or not loving before you get married. The issue of cheating. If we look at it vis-a-vis the increase or the heightened divorce rates we have experienced here in Africa, surprisingly, do you think what he's saying makes sense, or there's some kind of wisdom in it such that the cheating is just too small, a minuscule reason to leave a man?
Mariah, for me, I've heard a lot of divorce cases, and most of them that I've heard were not based on cheating. Cheating was the least of it. It was just that they found out either domestic violence was involved, or somebody could not perform in the other room, or something, family could not deal with the differences. There are major issues that people divorce from. I don't think it's basically just because of cheating that makes, you know, us have divorce cases. But also, I wouldn't want us to be in a position where we tell people what their deal breaker should be. So we look at you and say, this is a small matter, but you don't know how I am wired. You don't know how I operate. You don't know the agreement I got into in that relationship. So everybody has their deal breakers. Now, as you grow older in marriage, you realize that some of your deal breakers, you're beginning to break it down. You're beginning to say, okay, this one wouldn't matter anymore. That one wouldn't matter anymore. But for people that cheating still matters to, if they say they want to divorce because of cheating, I think it's okay for them to go because of cheating, because that is their deal breaker. That sort of person may even be there when, you know, there's domestic violence carried out against her, and she says, it's not my deal breaker, it's just one slap, or 2 slaps, or 3 slaps. We've heard that, you know, and they stay, and now start reasoning why the person now slapped you, probably because I'm the one that caused it, I got upset and all of that. So let's not be in a hurry to say, this is too small, and aside from marriage, in everything, this is too small for you to react this way, because we
let me
don't
take
know
this
where
call from
people are coming from.
Asmal, are you there? Hello, are you there? Asmal.
I am.
Please, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Well, I just have a brief contribution to make. It's going to affect me.
Go ahead, Asmal. We can hear you. You need to reduce your TV so that we can hear you directly. I'll have to cut off the phone.
Okay, what I want to actually contribute is people cheat for different reasons, not necessarily sex. So, okay, people cheat for different reasons, not necessarily sex. So putting in a condom or not into your husband, whatever bad, doesn't, you know, stop him from doing whatever he has to do, you know?
Exactly. Thank you very much, Asmal.
So, I know that we've packed the story of love and commitment, but I'll still say that it's very important that people look beyond, when you're getting married, when you're considering getting married, love is a good factor to have in place, but also weigh the options of how committed would this man be to us in marriage, because that's what would sustain the marriage long term. But when it comes to putting condom in a man's bag, many of our mothers were advised to do all sorts of things to keep the marriage. Put beer in the fridge, allow him a smoking corner in the house,
make pepper soup
for him every night. If he's going out to drink pepper soup, make it for him at home. If you see that he's cheating consistently, before you catch what you should not be catching inside the house, put condoms. So, you know, like those people were, they didn't have any other option. It was this must work whichever way.
And did it work?
And for many it did, because they had like 40 years of marriage with a man that was philandering all through. And then when he now, the last 5 years of his life, he now condemned and became your baggage in the house. You now nursed him. So for them it was, marriage worked based on the expectations they have. But the expectations people have now going to marriage is different. And those conversations should be had. Don't assume that the person I'm going to get married to knows he should be faithful. If you do not have that conversation. So expectations should be placed on the table before we marry, that I expect you to be faithful. The average man feels like, if I am faithful financially, I am good. The woman on her own, in her mind, is expecting that the faithfulness financially would also mean faithful with other things. So if you have expectations and you did not voice it, you are assuming he understands what you should bring to the table. He's also assuming that my mother understood. I know my father's girlfriends. I know my father had girlfriends, and my mom knew them, and my mom was okay. So why are you making noise? What's the big deal? So women who are concerned about this should place it on the table as an issue before the marriage.
All right, let me pause you for a quick second. I'll come to you. Let me take Bernard. Has been holding for a while. Bernard, are you there from Port Harcourt?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. What Pete Edochie said.
Sorry?
I said what Pete Edochie said.
Yes.
I would like everybody that listens to him to use. I would like everybody listening to him to use wisdom. It applies to both women and men.
Bernard, you're listening to the TV. Let me cut that line off. So please, when you call the station, it takes a few seconds to get to you. So if you're listening to the television, I can't hear you here. So please turn off or reduce the volume of the TV so we can have a communication. Yes, Mariam, go ahead, please.
So when I heard he says put a condom in his bag when you think he's cheating, and I thought, do I wipe his bum too when he gets off the toilet? Do I put him on my back when he's crying and needs to be comforted? I mean, he's old enough to know what he's meant to do. He got into a marriage and he understands his responsibility to that marriage. Simple. You said something
marriage
about
for adults.
Yes, and they said something about you need to have a conversation about fidelity. So that the expectation, the truth is that when a man marries a woman, he doesn't have that conversation. It's a given that she should be faithful. Why am I now having a special conversation with you about what a marriage should be? What the expectations are. So for me, we have, where we are today in 2021, we have had so many conversations concerning marriage, people's wants and likes, and that we know what people expect of marriages, except if you want something else different apart from what is normally expected. Now, secondly, why I feel the mothers that we talk about took this thing and have been in marriages for 40, 45 years and they stayed, is that there used to be a type of marriage where the man took care of everything. He provided for everything and also the wife's family. And then she rationalized between, if I stay here, that means my bills are paid, my mother's house is built, my brothers go to school, my children go to good schools, we live in a nice house. Because I really contribute nothing financially. I just have to be here and make sure that the house is running smoothly. But you're talking of a regular present-day woman who is working and earning. In some homes, a woman is earning much more than her husband, and she brings money as well as the respect that that you deserve. And then she gets this behavior from you. I'm sorry, I will find it I think any woman will find it very hard to stay in a marriage where she feels, I'm doing my part. And the only part I am asking of you is that be faithful to this marriage, and I need to also give you condoms while you're about to misbehaving.
Let me pause you for a second. I have a call. Good morning, are you there?
Hi, good morning.
Morning, you're live. Go ahead, please. Stanley.
Yes, my name is Stanley. I'm calling from Lagos. Talk to Council on Instagram. Very interesting topic we are handling today. I think it's also very important we try to make something known. Does not just wrong when there is sexual contact, especially among married partners. Well, you see, when you start having those little chats on your phone that you hide from your partner, you are already moving towards that direction. When you start having some of those little office conversations with the opposite sex that you are hiding from your partner, you are already, heading towards that direction. People of these days, Pete Edochie actually speaking for what's applicable, during his time. I forget some persons saying he should apologize. He also want an apology. He's over 70. These days people are more educated. The technology has taken over a whole lot. And some of these things we think, you can just go get away with back in the days. You really cannot do that now. People have got to realize that, we have come of age and domestic violence is not acceptable anyway. If your partner is cheating, it's not a do or die affair. If you want to move, if after every effort to see that he or she modifies his behavior is modified and it's not working.
Stanley, we couldn't get that. I'll come to you, BC. I think it's important I read this quote from Pete Edochie because this is part of the things that fuel issues of domestic violence. And let me please give me a minute to read this. When women talk to their men anyhow, because today, the men of today are quite weak. If you behave like that in our own time, you would never be in one piece again. I mean every word of what I'm saying. We got married when men were men, and women did not insult us in that way. The way women insult men nowadays, I begin to imagine it's not in our character. What is going on? Our women used to be beautiful things we love. We love to hold and cuddle. What is really going on? So I want us to discuss this.
Mariah.
We are these beautiful creatures, these beautiful things, like a lovely furniture, a lovely ornament on the wall.
The culture they buy
they
pay for it.
But now you are just talking anyhow.
So you are a beautiful piece of property that has been bought. And now there's this master and servant relationship where you dare not speak to your Lord. You dare not challenge him. The man makes all of the decisions without even asking, as in he doesn't even look at you or ask you, what do you think? You do not have that. As a matter of fact, you are treated less than a child, because by the time you have sons, your sons can look at you and talk you down. And the father is there. That's the tradition. So women were seen as properties. Once we buy you, we own you, we can do whatever and nobody can question us. We are even your glory. Are we not the ones that are giving you, making you stand proud in the society that you are married? Do you want to go out there without a man? People would insult you. People would disrespect you because you do not have a covering. And so the men had thrived on that sort of patriarchy and thrived on that, lordship that they had, that they now see women who are beginning to question, am I not a human being? Should I not have feelings? They now see you as you are no longer submissive, something is wrong, you're looking at the West, because you are now standing up for yourself as a human being. So we need to
let me go on a break, BC, because I need to pause you. Because while we're going, I'd like to think about this, because a man will say, yes, women are now being emancipated, but the women that have been emancipated in the West, where is the society today? The men are saying today, with all our culture, we still have a culture that the West is admiring. It's because of people like this. I want you to think about that. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we can't finish this conversation because there's so many angles to this story. We might have to continue tomorrow. But I'd like you to wrap up. I'd like you to respond to BC's last comment, because the truth is, we are talking about women emancipation, and a lot of women out in the West are today, they are emancipated, and they've gotten that 50-50 that we're looking for. But people today are admiring how we are in Africa, that we still have that culture, and we seem to be very, very, take the issue of family very, very seriously. So do you think the position of Pete Edochie aligns with who we are as Africa compared to the West?
So I'll say that Pete Edochie is definitely, once again, speaking for his generation, but some of the values that they have served to a large extent for the men. We as women now need to find a way to make it work, because the Western world that have embraced full emancipation, equal rights at all levels, you cannot, even if you're equal as human beings, this is the month of women, we just celebrated International Women's Day, even if you're equal as human beings, when it comes to marriage, there must be a head, there must be a captain, there must be someone who is making the decision for the progress of the family with the interest of the other human being in mind, not to make the other human being feel like a thing or a property.
Right.
So that must be in line. So
that has been blurred in the West. Yeah, totally. That line has been blurred.
In the West, we are both equal. You say A, I give you B, C, D. You argue over everything. There is no peace. Our structure must be a way where wisdom rules.
Sister.
Husband brings in wisdom. Wife brings in wisdom. Decision might not be to your liking at any point as a wife. But the point is there must always be a head in the house.
Okay, I'll pause you because we continue the conversation tomorrow. Let me let you have final word.
I'll just say that I think one of the problems that we look is the way we look at divorces. We just assume that all divorces lost out. Some people are better for it. Some people have left domestic violent relationships. Some people have left who have been deceitful towards them. So, and I'm talking both male and female, husbands and wives. So when you look at the divorces as just one thing where only people who have lost out are there. That's failures. Failures. That is why you think we're doing better, because you're also looking at all marriages as happy marriages, all marriages as healthy marriages. And until we start to look at the differences individually, then we'll see a better.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up on this. But as I said, it's not a conversation we can finish today because there are so many angles. There's issue of...
there are many layers.
There are many layers. Okay, we'll continue this conversation tomorrow. But let me move on to another important topic we need to discuss this morning.